luckily, I've ever since I was very young, I was always a networker. Always. At 16 years old, create a little tape, and I'd go to the radio station. Hey, would you play my music?
Really? Okay.
Always very, very, very driven. So I met my idols still in high school, and then I said, oh man, I got to do this. I got to do this. And ironically, on my 30th birthday, I had my birthday party with David Lee Roth. And if you can control your emotions in your brain and your body, you can control your life.
Absolutely.
And once I started to do that, then I was able to at least let go of the nervousness and do the job. Yeah. Constant ups and downs, but it wasn't as hard as when I was actually doing it, because it's the in-between of getting the next job. I'm considered a professional sideman. There is no agent. It's all about you. You have to promote yourself. But at the end of the day, my mindset had always been, it's the work.
Yeah.
It's the work, it's the work. We tend to forget when we see all of our favorite stars, you think, oh, it's natural. They are as terrified or more than you can ever think. The old adage that my parents, hey, if you're gonna do something, you're a young black man, you have to be 100 times better.
Absolutely. Welcome to the Fathers Podcast. My name is Emilio, and I'm here with AJ. We're about to bring you guys some impactful conversations. We just want to thank you for tuning in. Hit the like and subscribe button below. Please subscribe and check us out on our journey as we go. Again, this is the Fathers Podcast. I'm Emilio, and this is AJ. I've been looking forward to this interview with you, AJ. I know somewhat of your history, and I've been talking to you, and so this is something that I've been definitely wanting to do for a while. We've talked about it. So I finally have you here. I appreciate you coming.
I'm very excited to be here.
Your journey is something that I think there's a lot of men and women out there that would love to hear what you've been through, how you did what you did, how you've gone so long on this journey. We were talking before we started, and I said it's crazy how you stayed in it, and I love what you said to me. There's no quit. There's no quit in you. Yeah. And that's big, bro. One of the reasons why, we wanted to start this Fathers Podcast is to go over what the secret sauce is, to success, right? Mm-hmm. And I think there's many equations to that. But the equation is the equation, right? Dedication, motivation, enthusiasm in what you do, passion, being good at what you do are great. So I think you've obviously lasted this long because of these factors that you've gone through. So I want you to kind of, we'll go over where you started, how you've gone through. And again, this podcast is to not just, it's called the Fathers Podcast. And I tell people when I interview them, like, this is for men, this is for women, this is for anybody that wants to have some type of information on maybe they're going through something, maybe they're a musician, right? Mm-hmm. And for everybody out there watching, this man has been all over the world, traveling with the biggest bands, still to this day. And I don't care what job it is or what profession it is, that's longevity, my brother. You're the LeBron James of, like you're doing it, fam, and you're still doing it. You have a show coming up. Yeah. Tomorrow you're leaving, right? Or Thursday?
Thursday, leaving to play Epcot Friday and Saturday.
So even still till today, you're still doing this, what you love to do. Right. So for everybody watching at home, AJ is one of the best guitar players in the country, in the world. Very skilled individual. I was early, I was with a couple guys, and being skilled is great, being talented is great. But in my opinion, hard work beats talent all day. Yeah. If you can combine the hard work and the talent, that's really where it's at. 100%. So I want you to go over, I know, you came from Guyana, from Ghana from when you were 1 year old, right?
Correct.
You moved to Toronto.
Correct.
And you were in Toronto till you were?
About 6, 7.
7 years old.
And from there, my family moved to America. We settled in Connecticut.
Connecticut. Okay.
My dad happened to, he got a job at the University of Hartford, Connecticut. And that was about the time that they really saw I had the bug really bad in music. I was a drummer. Drum was my first instrument. I would play everywhere, and they saw something in me. And then my dad approached the musical department. Now, you have to remember, this is a college.
Yeah.
But he approached the musical director and said, I have my son, would you teach someone that young? He goes, well, this is a college, we really don't. But he said, would you just check out my son anyway? He said, okay. So I went in, did a little audition. He said, I'll take him.
Really?
Yeah. And at 6 years old, I started playing at a college, and started learning the rudiments. Wow. And then within a year, my parents, I was extremely shy, which you always hear every artist.
Yeah.
And they wanted to break me out of that, but they saw that I was crazy about anything with art and singing. So there was a children's theater for kids my age and a little bit older, that we could do operas and different things like that. So I started to get on stage and start to do plays. And
At that age?
At that age,
wow.
at 6. And then from there I continued every single Saturday of my life till I was at least 12 or 13. I always had a lesson. Wow. Guaranteed. I was at some...
So your parents supported you from even when you were at that age?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome, man. So shout out to your parents.
Oh, bless them.
Yeah.
Bless them.
No, absolutely. A lot of people don't, a lot of parents, they hear a 6-year-old say, hey, I want to be, shut up. You know what I mean? So the fact that your parents allowed you to fulfill your dreams at such a young age, that's awesome, man.
Very much so.
So you started doing like shows already at that age, or?
Yeah, we imagine a college theater. They would have La Boheme or what was it? Oklahoma.
Oh wow!
They did it Oklahoma thing, and of course I'd be the child within it. But I'm around college students that were really good.
So not only instruments, you were singing as well?
Yeah, that's when I really started to sing in front of people, and then have a real audience, and go through the madness of being nervous, but yet you still really love to do it.
The challenge of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he continued, and then my dad got another job opportunity here at Florida Memorial College here in Florida. That's why we moved here. Came down, and then I started to expand on my instruments. I had started playing guitar at about 10, and piano right about the same time. And then when we came here, still would take lessons and just started expanding. By the time I was in junior high or middle school, as they say,
Yep.
I got the bug and said, I want to get some guys together. And started to find little bands, guys to play. Got into high school, had a really good 3-piece little band, and we would do all the parties and carnivals, all the little get-togethers.
So you were the local band that everybody wanted to see. Okay,
exactly.
Awesome.
And we would play at our high school assemblies, that was pretty amazing. And that was the way to test, like a lot of musicians, they'll say, well, I always kind of felt different.
Yeah.
I always knew I was different, but I always just did my own lane. And then when you're playing for music and you're with other kids, then everybody knows you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it's like, ooh, who are you? Okay, this is cool. And I love that feeling. And then it just kept on expanding. Graduated high school. At the time when I graduated in '83, music, it was at its mecca. It was the biggest. Michael Jackson was the biggest thing on earth. Music was just booming. And being in Florida, Miami Sound Machine had just been the big thing in Florida. Now, granted, before we moved here, Casey and the Sunshine Band was here. And you had many R&B acts here, and it was a buzz, but Gloria brought the world to Florida.
Yeah.
And then by high school, I started to really see that at that time, there were clubs a dime a dozen everywhere. So I knew, I could work and make some money.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, so I started to get in that, started making money, but then seeing all the record companies and other people that I admired getting tours,
Yeah.
big tours, and I said, wait a minute, ooh, I can do that.
Let me get into that. Yeah, absolutely.
But you don't know how you're going to do it. But luckily, I've ever since I was very young, I was always a networker. Always. Even I would, at 16 years old, create a little tape, and I'd go to the radio station. Hey, would you play my music?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I was always very, very, very driven. And then I was lucky enough to be in a really good band called Pangea that was in South Florida, and we played all the clubs. But the other guys in the band, they knew the guys from Miami Sound Machine. And then they would come in to see us in the club. And then I would get to know different musicians. Oh, I have a friend of mine, John Cicada, is going to come in. John Cicada would come in and check us out. And then I figured out it's the connection. You have to know the people that are doing it in order to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So luckily, when they would come see me, I would work on myself, put on a good show, and then hopefully they remember you.
Yeah.
And over time, still developed. And then the big catalyst was, I'm a kid of the 80s, love my favorite music. I love all music, all styles. But as a drummer and guitar player, I loved rock and roll because it had oomph. It had the same attitude I feel as a person. And my favorite band in the whole world was Van Halen. And of course, Eddie Van Halen had changed guitar and the music. And I would go to every show, the only black guy at every show.
Yeah.
And I had every record. I knew how to play every song. Out of the blue, I got a backstage pass to meet them. And so I met my idols still in high school. And then I said, oh man, I got to do this. I got to do this.
So I'm assuming that kind of
Oh yeah.
made you even more motivated.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Because to meet your idols, that was
pretty heavy.
That was pretty heavy, yeah.
And then I'm working, and then I had given myself, when I was about 19, 20 years old, I said, you know what, I'm going to give this everything I have. If by about 30 years old, it's not working out, I'll find something else, And ironically, on my 30th birthday, I had my birthday party with David Lee Roth, the lead singer of Van Halen.
And I mean, I don't know, depending on who's listening, most people are going to know who David Lee Roth is, who Van Halen is. It's one of the biggest bands of the 80s.
Yeah.
They had hit after hit. So you were able to not only meet them, but hang out with them for your 30th birthday.
For my 30th birthday. And
That's
I'm
awesome.
playing Eddie Van Halen's parts.
That is crazy. Yo.
Beyond mind-blowing.
At that time, it's a dream. You're living a dream.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what's interesting about that story is that you finally have what you ever wanted, but the reality of getting what you want is also overwhelming.
Yeah.
I was so nervous. I'd never been so scared in my entire life.
Yeah.
And I'm always very well rehearsed going in, so rehearsing was not a problem, but just the jitters. It was overwhelming me, and I said, I want to do this. Well, luckily, we had at least 4 months of rehearsal. That doesn't happen much anymore. Yeah. But I had 4 months of rehearsal, and in between the first gig, I said, I have to get rid of this nervousness. I don't know what to do. Luckily, I used to teach guitar, and I had a student whose father was a licensed hypnotherapist. And I said, I have nothing to lose. Let me try it. So I found him, and he said, what is it you're looking for? I said, I want to be able to relax. I want to be able to be in control and just have fun, like I'm with my buddies in the garage just jamming. He goes, oh, okay, no problem. And I sat in his room. He had a voice of velvet. Yeah. And I didn't know I was going to go under, but I did go under a suggestion. They have nice new age music. And the bottom line of that was to learn our entire universe is in our brain. Yeah. And if you can control your emotions in your brain and your body, you can control your life.
Absolutely.
And once I started to do that, then I was able to at least let go of the nervousness and do the job. And our first gigs was out in Las Vegas. I'd be in MGM.
Wow.
And we would do the shows, and I would go through my practice, but at least I got through it.
Yeah.
And once I finished that tour, I was like, wow, that wasn't that too bad.
That wasn't that bad, yeah.
And then I was blessed enough to get Shakira after that. And this was in the 90s. So in the period of the 90s in South Florida was still really big.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to go from tour to tour to tour.
And kept going and going.
Kept going. And you'd never know if you're going to get another one, but
Yeah.
I would push.
But you were living it while you were doing it. You were doing it.
Oh yeah.
And enjoying it.
Oh yeah.
So you moved down here. You went from, you said you started with drums.
Yeah.
And then and drums, piano.
Yep. Drums, piano, guitar.
When did you decide guitar is?
When I was in middle school, they would have assemblies, that have all kinds of music. And there was the high school. I went to Miami Lakes Junior High.
Okay.
And then Hialeah, Miami Lakes, of course, you would go there for high school. They had a band assembly, and the guitar player that played, there was a four-piece that came in. He played like no one I'd ever seen that was my age. He was a kid, but he was like a professional. It was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. I ran home that day, picked up the guitar, and never put it back.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He's my closest friend to this day.
Really?
Oh,
shit,
yeah.
wow.
And the biggest inspiration of my life. When I was in high school, I would just kind of follow him around like a little puppy dog, but I soaked it in. How do I get to that level?
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then,
So you basically saw somebody else doing something. You said, I want to do that.
oh, yeah.
I want to do that. Even though you were doing other instruments, you said, I want to do that.
That was the one.
So when you started doing these shows, you started going on tour, you're living your dream. How did you, well, let me ask you this kind of to go back. I'm assuming that sounds great, but I'm assuming there were some lows within that time frame between middle school and 30 years old. What did you?
Well, they're constant ups and downs, but it wasn't as hard as when I was actually doing it.
Really?
Because it's the in-between of getting the next job.
Yeah.
As I'm considered a professional sideman, there is no agent. Yeah. It's all about you. You have to promote yourself. Yeah. And you have to be at the right place at the right time, know the right people for everything to click. And there's those in-between parts that can be very brutal.
But that's harder than the person that has the agent selling. You have to do it all yourself.
To this day, no agent.
So how'd you stay motivated during all that time? Like what's the secret to what you did to stay motivated, especially switching instruments and going, like what made you, was it you knew, I mean, you said since you were earlier, you knew this is what I want to do.
That was pretty much the bottom line.
I mean, that was it. There was no quitting. I'm going to continue doing this. I mean, that's really, and if anybody watching or listening in, I think people they're so quick to quit. You know what I mean? They're so quick to quit a dream, quit a goal that they have. You actually, and you said it before, once you controlled your emotions, you controlled yourself, you were able to kind of skyrocket and do what you had to do. Were you, even after you had the hypnosis, were you still getting nervous? Yes. Or it just wasn't?
Oh, it took years.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
It's something that you develop and you work with every single day. Right before every show, you just try to calm yourself. Yeah. But now, I think it took me about 4 years.
Yeah.
But then now it's like breathing. I don't think about it.
Now you just go in and do your thing.
I still have my meditative process, but yeah.
So, I mean, again, you're nervous, you're young, you're out there. I mean, bro, Shakira in the 90s was humongous. Yeah. So it's not like you're playing with Bob's band, you know what I mean? Like you're playing with major artists. Yeah. We were talking this before we started. When you're in this lifestyle, there's a lot of temptation, especially for men, right? Like men are, you know, and shout out to the women watching or listening in. I always say, you know, women mature a lot quicker than men. You know, we're still, you know, we're boys, right? How did you handle these temptations as you were going through your journey?
Well, first, I have to say, this is great that you asked that question. I had just gotten married right at the time everything started.
Really?
And I've been with my wife, at least 8 to 10 years prior. So I was at the ground level.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden things are beginning to pop. So I was just madly in love.
Yeah.
Yeah, so granted, there are a lot of temptations out there, but at the end of the day, my mindset had always been, it's the work.
Yeah.
It's the work, it's the work. Because ever since I was young, I'm a historian of music, whether it be Beethoven, and I know all the history of all the artists, and when I would read of your Jimi Hendrix, of your the cautionary tales, from a very young age, I said, no, I can't do that. That's not going to be me. And it's always been a part of me, of the people that have lost their way. That was the book to say, no, don't do that. You need to do this. And I've always stayed in the line of not doing what everybody else does. And I've always been.
Good for you.
And so that kept me always focused. It's about the work. It's about the work. We were speaking before that I would do a Shakira tour. Now that was a real tour, really big, and that was the first time you try to be a rock star. You know, after a show, they'll take you to a party, and you can drink and have a great time, but you still have to go to work next day.
Yeah.
And it didn't take very long. Over time, if you're partying too much, I'd get up on stage, I'd be exhausted.
Yeah.
And you have to always remember, every musician around the world wants your job. So that keeps me awake really quick. And I snapped out of it. Hey, I can have fun. I'll have fun maybe once in the week or twice, but you're not taking my job.
Yeah.
So
so you were dedicated to the craft. I think that's the difference too. There's a lot of young men that I think they get into certain professions for the wrong reason. Whether it's for the ladies, you know what I mean, the money, I think that one of the reasons, I'm assuming, you'll clarify that, you'll confirm this, one of the reasons why you were successful and have been successful is because you were strictly about the music. Your love of music was superseding any other thing that you worried about, and then you had your wife.
Correct.
So now you're like, I got my music, I got my wife, there was nothing else that you even needed. I think that's big, man. I think that that just shows mental strength, dedication to what you really want to do. And I think that's a big issue with a lot of, I can only speak for men, I'm not a woman, you know what I mean? But for a lot of men, I know what I've been through and what I see with even my boys or my sons and other men that I deal with is we tend to not focus in on what the priority should be. And we worry about all the little stuff, you know what I mean? So anybody listening in, I mean, listen to what this man AJ is saying. This is what I want to do. I want to do music, and I'm going to do it at the highest level I possibly can. You were nervous, but yet you showed up. You excelled in that nervousness. I think it's okay to be nervous.
There's nothing right.
It's kind of the whole thing, it's okay, you fall, get up. You're nervous, but you showed up.
You know what's interesting, if I can interject, we tend to forget when we see all of our favorite stars, you think, oh, it's natural. They are as terrified or more than you can ever think. But it's just a way of, well, I'm here, let's make the best of it. They just know how to flip it. Yeah. And then when you're a part of seeing that, you have a different way of thinking and attitude. And always remember, this can be gone away in a heartbeat. Yeah. You don't walk into these situations thinking, "Oh, I got this." No, you don't. You're in it for a while.
Well, I think, like you said, if you know somebody else can take my job, and you care about your job, then you're going to go all out for that job, right? I think that's in anything, though, whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, whether it's, whatever you want to have, man. I mean, focusing on what you want to do, keep that as the priority. And I think just great things are going to happen if that's the case. I like I was telling you earlier, I didn't have at a young age not that I didn't have the right foundation, but we've talked about this on the podcast. You are who you are. My mother used to always say in Spanish, dime con quien anda, te digo quién eres. Who you are, who you're around.
With, yeah.
You know what I mean? I heard another guy say, your network is your net worth. You know what I mean? Who you're around. I mean, that's, add it up. If you're around broke individuals, most likely you're going to be broke, right? You've obviously stayed around the right people to keep you in the right mindset, because you're still with your wife. All these years later, bro. That's kind of unheard of. You know that, right? Especially you doing music so long. How'd your wife handle it? I'm curious. How'd your wife?
That's a great question. She's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
We met in a club that I was playing. And went through
so she knows how the girls.
She knows what's up.
Yeah, she knows what's up. Yeah.
And we had said we're kind of mature about it. Look, if I'm going to go out, and if I'm going to mess up, pretty bitch, you better understand she might do exactly the same thing. Yeah. So, are you good with that?
Yeah.
And so you make the decision. Can you look at yourself in the mirror when you get home?
Yeah.
That was at least how I always thought about it. And then if I can look in the mirror, then I'm good. So we've been always really good. It's just been in such a smooth evolution.
Yeah.
And she's just rolled with it really
wow.
smoothly and easily. Yeah.
So you picked the right woman, obviously.
Oh,
you picked the right person to be with. How did you? And again, you said there was lows, there was, times that was there ever a time in your journey that, or even till this day, now that, you've been doing this for so long, is there ever a time you're like, man, maybe I need to walk away from this, or maybe I'm done, or was there something that happened that, that you were close, and then what made you stick with it? What made you?
Good one. Granted, when you are a professional sideman, it's not your name on the album, anything can happen. And I've been fired out of the blue. It's happened a couple times that you don't expect, and that can cut your legs off.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. Something still in my brain says, no, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can do this. I can get back on my feet. Because. I don't know. It's just something ingrained in my brain. Just don't stop.
I think it's infectious, man. I think it's I hate to say it's in your DNA, but I just think that there's an attitude that one has to have.
I agree.
I think there's a difference between quitting and realizing maybe this isn't for me. You know what I mean? I always use the analogy like, I love playing basketball. I'm never going to dunk the basketball, right? So I'm not going to try, but I can shoot a three-pointer. I could do other things, and I think we just need to stick to what the realistic, be realistic in your goals.
Yes, 100%.
As young men, as young women, be realistic in what you want to do. Make sure you have the ability to do it. Don't try to do something that's just out of your scope, right? And you obviously, playing an instrument, bud, is, you said something earlier, you love all music. You kind of go to the rock and roll side of it. I love all music. You know what I mean? Being Latino, being from New York, you're kind of like and growing up in the 80s and the 90s, it's like, if you're Latino and you're black, right? Hip hop. Music is music, bud. And when I see people play in a band and I see anything that I can't do, I'm just fascinated with it because I'm like, I can't do that. You know what I mean? You were able to grab an instrument, see somebody do the guitar, like you said, in high school, or middle school or high school. And did you ever do the instrument, that guitar before that you saw a guy?
I've been playing, but not at that level.
Not at that level. And when you saw that, you said, I need to get there. So there was no hate, there was appreciation, and you're still friends with the dude today. So you saw something, you said, I want to do that. What did you do to, once you saw him and you decided, you get home and you go, I want to play guitar. What did you do to ensure that what you were doing was going to be done the right way?
That's a great question. I saw what he was doing when I started to go to concerts. The level that this high school was playing was the level of what I would pay to go see. And then from there, I would start to dissect. I'm a Virgo, so we dissect everything. I would watch how they would play, how after every song there's silence. All the small nuances of being a professional. I started in my room doing that, cultivating that. The more concerts, I probably saw every popular band in the 80s and collected all this information, and I'd go home and do the same thing. And then I would play in the bands that I would perform with and have that same mental attitude. So I had the mental attitude of I'm already there from the time I was playing a club, and you just cultivate. I was very lucky back then. I played 6 nights a week.
Wow.
That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
I would play 6 nights a week in one place for at least 2 weeks minimum. And that is truly cultivating your thing. And I wanted to add one thing that made me different and that still makes me different is that, yes, I'm a black kid playing that liked rock and roll. No one. It was you're a white kid, you play rock and roll.
Yeah.
You're a black kid, you play R&B. No one was ever going to tell me what I'm going to play. I'm going to play from my heart. And the old adage that my parents, hey, if you're going to do something, you're a young black man, you have to be 100 times better.
Absolutely.
That was my law. So if I was going to do it, I knew I had to really dig in to be noticed.
Yeah, I want to make sure that everybody listening and watching it, I mean, unfortunately, right, the world we live in looks at color a little bit more than they should, right? You knew you were a black man in a white world, and you knew for me to excel, I have to be good. I have to be great. And you were willing to take that challenge. The fact that you had parents that informed you of this, and you took that and you actually listened, which kids at home listen to your parents, right? Yeah. That's pretty awesome, man. And I like the fact that, because again, that's I always, when I talk about this podcast is for every color, every race, every whatever. I don't want to specify, single out anybody. This is for you, right? But at the end of the day, I'm Latino, right? I want to make an impact to my people. I want to make an impact to anybody listening and watching in, and I hope that when they hear your story, don't be scared. It's, I always get mad, and I'm sure you've heard this when, you talk. I think everybody has alter ego, right? There's you have your professional side and you have your, who you are, right? There's a time and place to speak a certain way. But I think unfortunately, a lot of blacks and Latinos, bro, were scared to get into something that's the white man's world. No. Don't be scared. No. You were scared.
World.
It's our.
It's not black and white.
It's not black and white, bro. And the fact that you were able to not only get into the world, succeed in that world, knowing that this is a white world, right? You didn't care.
No.
And you just did what you had to do. Correct. And because of that, your knowledge of knowing what you were getting into, I'm assuming you worked harder than the next man. You practiced more. You were watching. You said you were watching. You're observing. You didn't just go and you did more than that. And that's what really, I like about what you're saying is, and I do that in my profession as well. It's one thing to learn certain things, but there's so much more to just learning what you want to do. It's what does somebody else do? What did they do bad that I don't want to do? What did they do good? I want to do that. 100%. Like, I mean, so, and then that, again, that goes to any profession. That goes to anything that you want to do in your life, man. A mistake is a lesson learned. You know what I mean? Like, don't get discouraged. Don't look at something and say, I can never do that. You can do whatever you want in this world. And I really hope that people understand that, man. You came from a country where I'm sure most people there would be like, you want to play guitar in a rock band? Get out of here.
No.
Right?
No, 100%.
I mean, and for you to have succeeded in it, man, I think that's just amazing, bro. And again, continuing to do this for so long. A lot of guys do a lot of things, bro, but can they do it for over 30 years? That's big.
Thank you.
That's big. So let me ask you this, because I know you have kids as well. You got married around the same time that you got discovered, right? Around that time. How many kids do you have?
2. I have a boy and a girl.
Okay. How old are your kids?
23 and 21.
23 and 21. How did that play a role? This being the Father's Podcast, you being on the road a lot, how did you juggle being a father, having kids, having a wife that supports you? Obviously, shout out to your wife, right? Shout out to your wife. How did you handle that?
Well,
And I've met your son.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing, professional, well-spoken. So obviously you did an amazing job. You and your wife did an amazing job.
Right.
But bro, that's a tough life. And to be a father,
Yeah, well, I went into it just like I did with my music. We are very, very blessed. It is the biggest blessing to have a child, a healthy child. And when they came out, it was just like, okay, it's on. I'm ready. Let's rock and roll. So I'd be on tour. The second I come home, boom, honey, you go to sleep. I took care of everything, feeding, everything. I was very hands-on in everything, and I have great enthusiasm in doing it for both of them. This was my gift, and I'm going to take care of it just like the gift of my music.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was always 100% more.
So you didn't just say, hey, baby, you got the kids, I'm on the road. When you came back, you said, baby, you go do what you got to do.
Right.
I got this.
And unfortunately, my parents, God bless them, they had moved on very early in my life. I lost my mom at 21.
Oh, wow.
So I was pretty much on my own by the time I'm 21. But by that time, my parents had given me so much knowledge and love. And so
my brother, to support at 6 years old, to support your kid, bring him to the school, say, hey, can you teach me? That's not norm. That's not the norm. It's more like 6 years old, go color, go. That's pretty cool, brother.
My dad was, he would do 2 jobs, sometimes 3 when I was in high school, just to pay for my lessons and take care of it. So, I grew up in that environment, and then I grew up, and I don't play either. Whatever it takes, that's what I do, period.
That's awesome, man. When did you lose your dad?
I lost him a couple months before my son was born, unfortunately. Wow. So he did live for almost 10 years after, but then before. So the reason I'm saying is that when I had my family, it was just us.
Wow.
It's just us. We do have family, but they're not in Florida.
Gotcha.
So everything I need to do, I do when I got home. So you don't bring the music attitude with you. That you've already done that. You've done that on stage. Home is home, and I separate the both.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and I think people need to realize that, man. I think as men, and I'm, I can't speak for women, but I know in my experiences, women sometimes take things home they shouldn't. Men do. So for you to separate such a different lifestyle, because rock and roll on the road, that's the stigma of that. I mean, I don't think I got to say what the stigma of that is, right?
That's what it is.
And for you to have gone through all this, continue to go through this, and yet still keep a wife, keep the kids. Again, that's why I wanted you to come in, my brother. You know what I mean? Because I think unfortunately, it's not the norm. I think a lot of guys that get into what you're doing either lose themselves, a lot of divorce, a lot of fathers that aren't there for their kids. And I think that sometimes as working men, we we tend to use that as the I work a lot. I'm taking care of the house and I'm taking care of this and the fact that when you were home, you took care of your babies, man. That's again, shout out to you as a father. How did your kids handle as they saw you? Because you continued. Your kid is, you have a 25, 21-year-old. How did they take it when they got to an age they're like, yo, my dad is a rock star? Like, how did they take it?
In my opinion, it's the typical thing. You could be, the big cheese with everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
Could care less when you come home. You just dad,
Yeah, we said, it was a couple weeks ago, we said greatness is often overlooked by the closest to you.
Right.
So,
but it's only been the last couple of years in my aspect.
Yeah.
That they've appreciated it.
Yeah. Well, I saw some of your videos, my brother. You out there, you jamming.
That's right.
So to handle being a father in an environment like that, and to still have been successful in your home life, man, I don't even know what to say to that, man. That's awesome. One of the reasons why, again, we started this podcast is to really promote fathers fathers and mothers, you know what I mean? I mean, that just have gone through so much stuff and yet they just stay consistent with what was the priority in their life. But yet still having control of the dream that they want. I think at times, in general, we tend to I have this dream, but I have this going on, and you kind of you don't put your all into each. How were you able to put your all into your family and put your all into your music? Like, how did you talked about mental toughness earlier, mental strength. Is that really what, that mental strength is what allowed you to be so successful in both?
100%, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have the passion for both. So in my brain, I'm going to do 100% for both.
That's awesome. So it's not like you said, oh, well, this is what you...
Never.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, that's what fatherhood is about. I'm sure there's been mistakes that you've made or, things that, I always say I think back when I dealt with my kids, damn, I wish I would have said something different. But at the end of the day, I was there. You were there. You came home. When the tour was over, you went home. And I think that's one of the biggest things as fathers is we can do is go home.
Yeah, very true.
Like, you know what I mean?
100%.
Go home. Go home to your family. Let your kids see you. Let your, you know what I mean? Like, let them know how important they are to you. So that's awesome, man, because I know I'm sure a lot of guys stayed on the road.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure a lot of dudes that that were married that weren't doing what you were doing.
Right, true. And then I would have to say there's a split. It's a 50-50.
Yeah.
The guys I know, heck, some of the guys in Shakira who are doing Shakira now, they've been with their wives for forever, for years. So it's a split personality, or well, I wouldn't say personality, but it's a split mentality. There are a lot that do what I do.
Yeah.
And then it all depends on, what is your goal? What is it you want?
But that's why you lasted, though. I think that's why you lasted, because your priorities were already set from such a young age. Which I think, not that you can't, like I didn't have my biological father. I always said if I did, I have I always say if I did have a dad, maybe I'd be even, be doing better in my life. Mm-hmm. But I maybe that was my journey. You know what I mean? You actually had your dad, even though he left at a young age for you. But at least what he gave you in those 30 years was, that helped you become who you are, helped you become the father you are, right?
Absolutely.
Because again, I think if my son came to me at 6 years old and said, hey, I want to play guitar or instruments, I'm like, bro, even me, I think I'm a great dad, Yeah. So I think the fact that you lost your dad early, maybe, God had a plan already in that to say, hey, he's not going to have you that long.
Very true. And you just made a good point that there's no doubt in my mind by losing, especially my mom at a very early age, it taught me within a couple years that there's no messing around. You show your passion, you show your love every single day that you can breathe, because it can be gone in a heartbeat and it ain't coming back. And I don't ever really think of regret of I'm not a coulda, woulda, shoulda. I will do it. And I hope I show my passion and love to my family every day. And do what it takes while we're here on earth. No, don't wait years make it right now.
Absolutely.
I live by that, and I think about that every single day, and hopefully it'll show. It does show.
Yeah, I always tell people I learned more in my dad's death from him than I ever did him being alive. It really, like, when my dad died, man, it's been 13 years now, it really completely changed my perception on things. And, thankfully I still have my mom, but you losing your mom at 21 and then your dad, a lot of people would take those losses and maybe go a different route.
Right.
You took it the other way.
100%. And over the years, I have many friends that have lost, and for some reason in the universe, I feel the loss of my parents helped me help other people, because I will tell them, don't worry about, yes, they're gone, and yes, you feel sad, but it's what they gave you while they were here that matters. And I always think about all the positive and the great energy that they gave me while they were here, and that's what propels me. And it's actually more of a happiness, a feeling of hope and solidity.
Were they ever able to see you on stage?
Yeah.
So they were. I'm talking about, I know they saw you growing in high school and middle school and all that.
My dad got to see the Shakira show.
Wow, bro. He must have been.
Yeah, he was. And that was my biggest pride.
Wow, bro.
For him to see that. Because
That's awesome.
all of his hard work, boom, was right there.
Wow, that makes me a little emotional, bro. That's awesome. For him, just imagine him being your dad, knowing that he started you at this at 6 years old, worked the 3 jobs to get you to get these lessons and all that, and then to see your son on a stage, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That's big, bro. And we're men, so when we see our sons, like, you know what I mean?
That's a big deal.
That's a big deal. And I bet you for you as a young man at that time, you were probably proud and like, I made it, Dad. You know what I mean? That's pretty cool, bro. So you got to share that with him at least before he was gone.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's awesome, bro.
Very lucky.
That's awesome. And again, like I said, my dad showed me more in his death. You know, he showed me things growing up, how to work. And I didn't have my biological, but the man that raised me. And I'm real big on, anybody could be a father. It takes something different to be a dad. You know what I mean? To really be a dad, right?
No doubt.
Let alone to raise another man's child. As men, that's, you know what I mean? So my dad to me was just everything, you know what I mean? Probably wasn't the best dad, you know what I mean? But he was there. Like I said, he came home.
Yep.
Came home. He was there. He took 3 kids and that weren't his, and he raised them and he helped and he taught me how to work hard. And I wish, to this day, I wish he was still here to see, what I'm doing now in my life and everything like that. So I'm very, very happy to hear that your dad got to see you on that stage, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he was probably very emotional seeing you up there. You know what I mean? Was your dad, because I know my dad, I'm sure your dad from that generation, did he show a lot of emotion, or was he like kind of the tough guy?
Ooh, yo.
I was talking last week. I heard my dad say, "I love you" 5 times to me.
Yeah.
Like 5 times.
What? I would say he was split. He was old school, but he's so generous. You know? Now you really made me think. A lot of emotion, of course, came from Mom, but he was kind of split. He would give you the big hug and a big kiss, and we were solid.
you know, from that generation, you know, growing up where you grew up, and you know, being from the Puerto, like that generation, bro, they
They
were
were tougher
tough.
males.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So when your mom passed, did he change at all, or did he put more, you know, more energy into dealing with you, and like how
No,
did
by
it?
that time I was 21. I had all the tools.
Yeah.
I was on my own. But
So he was just watching you and just
yeah,
watching you do your thing.
yeah, no
That's
doubt,
awesome.
no doubt.
Did he stay in Connecticut, or did he come down
Oh,
here?
we were all together here.
So he came down here to, oh, because he came down, so he never went back. He was, okay, okay. So you lose your dad, you have your son, and was there ever a time during that time, you know, me having kids, I know I've always like, damn, am I in the right path? Am I this? Was there ever a time, and not even because you were like, hey, you know, I'm not getting to work, but was there ever a time you were like, maybe I need to switch professions, or, you know, maybe I need to find a new route? Was that ever in your mind, in your brain?
Only in that last year before I turned 30.
Yeah.
That was the really first time that I'd say, oh, I'm not sure.
Huh.
But until then,
But what made you say that? Like, what made you even contemplate that? Was it the kids being born?
no. It was prior to the kids being
Yeah.
born. It was just the drudge of playing clubs every night and blah, blah, blah. And granted, the band I was in, we had put together a record and was trying to pool it together. But at that time, I put so much energy into playing clubs that it was getting to the point where maybe it was getting burnt out. And I like to be a forward thinker.
Yeah.
So I look at my situation and say, well, is this going to last? And look at all the parameters, and I was saying, maybe it would be time. And then
How long did that last? I kind of know the answer.
a
Like,
couple months.
you were like, no, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's awesome, bro. That's awesome, man. Again, you know, I love music. I've been DJing since I was a young cat, and music, I think you don't have to play a guitar or an instrument. I think music is just such a beautiful instrument of just peace. You know what I mean? Whether it's that song that just brings you to that place that you want to be, or you know, music is such an influence in my life, and I know with a lot of people that are in, you know, that are especially watching or listening in. What place does music have for you, even having been doing this so long? I mean, is it still just, are you still just as green now as you were
Yeah,
then?
absolutely.
I mean, you're
Because when, you know, if you hang out with me, I'm just a hippie.
yeah,
And the reason why is when you're playing a really big show, and I will be, say, like in Brazil, and most of the audience does not speak English, but yet they're singing every single word in English of the song that they love.
Yeah.
The wave of love and unity is beyond anything you can express.
Yeah.
It is beyond powerful. When you walk off that stage, I'm zinging, not for a night, but for days. That energy is so impactful that shows me how music, it's a vibration. And we all have that vibration. And to have it all connected in one particular space
it's crazy.
is beyond anything can feel. So it's a drug.
Now, I know you said, you know, when you were playing with, you know, Van Halen, you did that whole thing with them for your birthday. I'm sure that was obviously amazing, right? Was there ever a time you yourself, maybe it was the Shakira tour, or was there ever a time you're playing on stage and you're looking out there into the stadium and you go, freaking made it?
Oh, yeah.
Like, do you remember that? Like, what was the show? What was the...
I keep bringing up Shakira for some reason because I played so many, but there have been a couple.
Well, that was, you know, that was like in the beginning
In the
of your
very, very
big, yeah.
I would, as I told you earlier, when I would rehearse as a kid, I would rehearse with the mindset that I am that person on stage that you're paying big bucks for.
Yeah.
Always, always. And I would always I would set up my room in the lights. And that was my mental focus. That is what I'm shooting for.
Yeah.
I'll never forget playing with Shakira at a stadium, totally packed, and they have all the lighters, the whole place is like, and that was the time I said, this is what I imagined.
Wow.
And it's happened many, many, many times. And it's, for me, important to take that break and say,
Yeah.
thank you. Wow.
Absolutely.
I did it.
And now, now in the age that you are now, you've been doing this for so long. Do you appreciate every time? I'm sure you appreciate every time you get on that stage, right?
Every single time, because as I've mentioned before, you can't take it for granted. It can go away from you in a heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just not, oh yeah, I do this all the time. No.
Yeah.
So there's a great appreciation, and I never take it for granted.
That's awesome, man. And I hope people listening in really understand that, man. Like, I think a lot of, especially when you're young, right? And I'm sure you'll agree. When we were young, we walk around like we're Superman. As you start seeing, when my dad died, I was like, oh my God. Like, you know what I mean? Where I'm from, people got shot, people got killed, people got, oh my God, you know what I mean? He's gone. My dad died of natural causes and he was sick. And I was like, oh, my dad is gone. Ain't nobody kill him. Ain't nobody shoot him. He's gone. So you could just, and again, I was in my 30s. But I'm like, damn, my dad is gone. Like, when your mom died at such a young age, did that really like push you to be like I'm gonna even go harder? I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. That was also a catalyst of, giving them the props of everything, the blood, sweat, and tears that they gave.
Yeah.
It's all about love, actually.
Yeah.
So what they gave me, I wanted to give back. And,
That's awesome.
And, yeah, 100%.
So you're about to leave now you're saying you're gonna go do Epcot now, right?
Yeah, this weekend.
So how out of a month, how much are you traveling? How much are you still doing shows?
Now I don't do full tours, but I'll be gone almost maybe 2 weekends in a month, or it always changes.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much 2 weekends in a month, and every once in a while we'll have a run for about 2.5 weeks.
Wow.
Which is a lot easier than 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you still.
But you still get to go do what you love to do, and you're still out there jamming. And I mean, bud, you look great for your, I won't say your age. I think you kind of
60.
Yeah, I mean, brother, like it's. I've seen dudes, younger than both of us, man, that don't look as good as us, I would say. No, absolutely, brother. I mean, I know 30-year-olds that I'm like, hey, what the hell are you doing in your life? Right. That I think that, people always say, oh, you look young, you look young. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I think we have to be, as human beings, happy. I think it's really important to love what you do. I don't think enough people love what they do. I hate when I hear people talking, oh, I hate my job. Oh, I got to go to work tomorrow. I love waking up in the morning. I love working. I love what I do. Are there times that I'm sure the sound guy maybe didn't do it right? You know what I mean? Like you're frustrated, but you still love what you do. I think it's very important, man. And I think that keeps you young. You've been doing, bro, you've been doing what you love to do for 54 years, bro. Yeah. Understand that, whoever's watching and listening in. Yeah. 54 years of doing what you love to do. Yeah. What you said, this is what I'm going to do. Yeah. It's amazing, bro.
Now that
you even saying it, you go, damn, 54 years.
I don't think about it, but yeah,
brother, that's if that's not a blessing in itself, I don't know what is. And to be in a world that is dominantly white, succeeding. Mm-hmm. To be in a world in general where most people, I played in a band when I was young, and they work at the local grocery store. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. that's it's just a testament to dedication, hard work. Like I said earlier, man, the ingredients to success, enthusiasm. What do you think is what would you say was the hardest thing about your journey as far as learning your craft? What was the hardest thing?
Oh, the hardest thing was easily getting over the anxiety.
Really?
Yeah. I wanted it. I'm a kind of person that I will rip heaven on earth to get to the point that I need to get.
Yeah.
And I knew I can do the job, but I needed to let go of the anxiety. So it's that was
The anxiety
easily
of the
done.
nervousness of being on stage,
Yes.
or
Yes.
but did you have this anxiety because you were nervous that they wouldn't like you, or you would mess up, or you play a wrong chord?
There
Like,
is some idiot that is in every human being's brain that says everything that you just said.
Yeah.
All these little idiosyncrasies and oh, you're not really good enough, blah, 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 blah. But then what changed me was that, AJ, you've worked so hard since you were little.
Yeah.
This is your chance. You sometimes in life, was of whereabouts that in life sometimes you have one chance. You might as well make the best of it.
absolutely.
And there was no way I was going to let that go. So I did whatever I could or needed to do to excel in what I knew I was good at. And so once I was able to do that, it's changed my life immensely in so many positive ways.
But you were good at it though because you put the work in to learn.
Correct.
I mean, you started at drums, brother, and you've been playing guitar for major artists for all this time. So sometimes where you start isn't where you finish, but the journey has stayed the same as far as in the same industry that you wanted to be. And I think that's very important for people that are listening and watching to understand that, you don't, change is okay, right? You can change something, but just don't give up. Don't give up. And if you're going to make that change, then, I mean, bro, like, there's a thing that they say, practice like you would play, right? Like, I'm sure when you were in your room with the lights on, like you said, you were practicing like you were on that stage already. That's
It's a
very,
mindset.
it's very important, my brother.
Yeah.
When I did music when I was younger, when you're going to say, hey, kick that, like, do it like you're in front of a million people. Because if you're doing it half-ass, you're most likely, you're learning it half-ass. When you get to that point, you're going to probably do it half-ass. You were in your room with lights on, and in your mind, you were on that stage already. You manifested what you wanted to do, and you did it. I applaud you, bro, because I think, especially and unfortunately in the Black and Latino environment, right? Everybody wants to be a rapper. Everybody wants to be, whatever, which is fine. I think that's fine if you're going to do it the right way. But you actually did it, bro.
Amen. What I would like to say to your audience, especially for younger people, talk less and do more. No talking. It's the doing that gets you from point A to point B.
Yeah. There's
Too many people hype.
That's what I'm saying, bro. You put the work in.
Yeah.
You didn't just say, hey, I want to do it. And not only that, and for parents, that have kids, don't be so quick to push your kids' dreams to the side. Because look what could happen. Your dad could have went two different ways, and he went the way of, I'm going to make sure my son does what he wants to do. Sure. So I think as parents, and this being the Father's Podcast, right, as fathers, we definitely need to support our kids. If they're passionate about it, find a way to do it. If you can't afford it, get a third job like your dad did. I get emotional saying that, bro, because I work my ass off for my kids, bro. Yeah. And I've been working my ass off for a very long time. And if as kids, if you have your parents busting their ass like that, then do your part.
Do your part.
So this goes out to the fathers and the mothers and the kids It's a two-way street. If you have that support from your family and you're blessed to have that support, then like you said, say less and do more. I mean, you know, I think, you know, I've been on both ends. Obviously, I'm a son, but I'm a father. And there's been many times that I'm like, damn, man, you know, she had my back on that and I didn't, you know what I mean? And I think that that's important for parents to understand. Is, now, again, if it's something unrealistic, then maybe you need to have that honest conversation. I tell my kids all the time, I push them very hard. I love my kids. If you guys are watching this, I love you guys like crazy. I know I'm hard on you guys, but it's only because I know they can do it. I know, and I say this, it's funny, but I tell them, if you guys were morons, I wouldn't push you to do certain things. Because like you're a moron. You're like, I know you don't have it. Why would I push you? You know, my brother's in a wheelchair. I'm not going to tell him, hey, you want to go run this race? He's in a wheelchair. I know what he can do. I'm only going to ask him to do what I know he can do. You know what I mean? And you know, shout out to Jose. He knows what he can do. And he does it to a level of just excellence. You know what I mean? So I think that that's just very big, bro, that you, and it's, I hate saying shit like this, bro, but it's not normal in our culture, unfortunately. It's not normal for what you had, I think, is just is what we need to be where we should be as a culture in the Black and Latino craze. We need more parents supporting their kids. We need more kids realizing that we have the support of our parents and taking pride in doing what they're working hard for us to be able to accomplish, right? And I think if we're on the same page and we understand that as children and as parents, just think about what we can do in this world, bro. I mean, I think, and again, I know your parents are gone, man, but they're up there watching you, and I'm sure they're very proud of you still to this day. I'm sure your kids are very proud of you, my brother. I know, you know, again, I met your son. Your son is amazing, my brother, and now speaking to you, I can kind of, you know, it's like, yeah, I see it. I could see it. You know what I mean? And I applaud you as a father. I applaud you as a musician. I think anything that you can do for as long as you've been doing it, you need to be, you know, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, bro. We're never going to get a pat on the back. I think you mentioned something earlier. Your name isn't on the album, right? Like it's, you know what I mean? Like you're there, you're part of it, because the album wouldn't be the album without the guitar player. It's one of the biggest instruments that you could, you know, have in a band, in music, and yet you didn't allow that to take you away from. You didn't let ego get involved. You didn't let anything. This is what I want to do, and I think it was Chris Rock that said this. So if you're going to be it doesn't matter what part of the band you are, if you're going to play the smallest instrument, play the shit out of it. Do it with pride, do it with passion, do it with excellence, whether you're the lead singer, you're the guitar player, or you're the tambourine player. I think he said, you know what I mean? Man, shake that shit. Do it with pride, do it with passion. Love what you do. That's where, so before we go, what would you say to leave them with a final thought? What is the main ingredient of your success?
Number one would be passion, focus. Be very, very focused. You have to walk with blinders on each side. Be smart, especially being in music. Being an artist is brutal. Yeah. Art is always brutal. We're always struggling, but if you are smart, dissect what you're trying to do, figure out, again, networking. how can I create the right music? How can I find the right people? Put the pieces together. A lot of people just go through motions, but there's a lot of thought process that goes in. And if you're smarter than the guy next to you, you have more of an edge.
And don't be scared to fail, I'm assuming, right?
There's no such thing as failure in my language at all. Yes, if things don't go well, find another way.
Yeah.
Find another way.
So focus, believe in yourself, and say less and just do what you got to do, man. Do what you got to do. We're going to have all the links below to AJ, where he's going to be, where you can see some of his YouTube videos and you can check them out. You know, we hope that any upcoming musicians or any musicians currently that are listening to this or watching, they really, this is not, you're not talking from, and again, it's kind of like, you know, you don't want to ask a blind man which way to go, right? Like, you know, when you say be smart, I think being smart is make sure you're listening to the right people, make sure you're talking to the right people, take advice from the right people. I tried personally not to practice what I don't preach. I tried myself to practice what I preach. If I don't practice it, then I'm not going to preach it. Right. Just because, I mean, that's hypocritical, right? Like, there's certain things I don't touch on because I'm not good at it. So how can I teach somebody else? I can tell somebody don't do this because I'm telling you I shouldn't do it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I really hope that they understand. And they've watched enough of this episode that they understand this is 54 years of experience, 54 years of knowing what you wanted to do and to still be doing it. Bro, there's probably been 1,000 things I've wanted to do in my life. And yet, from 6 years old, bro, like, even you, I'm sure you look at yourself and you go, God, damn, I'm still doing this. I'm still on the stage. Like, bro, it's incredible, my brother. And maybe you don't kind of like our kids look at us like we're just dad or whatever. Yeah. Maybe even you yourself at this point in your life are kind of like, yeah, I've been doing this. Yeah. Well, I'm just here to tell you, my brother, what you're doing is just amazing. And what you're doing is just unheard of. It's not the norm. There's a very small percentage of people doing what you do. And to do it with just enthusiasm and the passion you're doing it, bro, that's success, man. That's happiness. That's what everybody's goal should be. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you coming by, AJ. We're going to have all the information underneath for these guys to check it out. You guys listening in, listen to this man. Reach out to him. We're going to have all his information there. If you want to reach out to him, Go check out his tickets when he's at the Broward Performing Arts Center with Taylor Dane. And we hope to have you come back and tell us some more stories of what you're going to be doing in the future. Do it until the wheels fall off, brother.
Yeah, man, that's the goal.
Do it until the wheels fall off,
Thank you,
man.
I loved it. Thank you for having me.
You know, we appreciate you coming in, and thank you guys for watching and listening in. And we want to give a shout out to Serenity Studios for allowing us to have this podcast here. We appreciate you. We love it. That's why we continue to be here with you guys. Shout out to our sponsors, Rich Off Printing. Thank you so much for being part of this journey, and allowing us and helping us to have this continue, to be able to speak to guys like AJ, tell stories of just incredible human beings that have just, you know, beat the statistics. You know, we just really appreciate you, man. We really do. So shout out to Rich Off Printing. They have a digital Air ID that we just got. Check them out. Their info is going to be down below. And shout out to D Wipes, another one of our sponsors. Keep it clean, something finally for men. Shout out to D Wipes for, again, giving us a sponsorship. You know, one of the things I think, one of the major things to any successful journey is support. Yeah. Surround yourself with people that support you. But if you don't have people that support you, that shouldn't stop you from doing what you have to do. You could have stopped when your mom died. You could have stopped when your dad died. And you've been going and going and going. And you use these tragedies that you've gone through to actually propel you to even more success. So take the mistakes that you guys are going through as men and women, young or old, and use these mistakes and use these events that happen as a positive thing. Change the perception of it. Be better. Become the best version of yourself. You know what I mean? Take time for your family. Take time for your wife or your husbands, and understand that this world is not guaranteed for you to be here tomorrow. And if you have that mentality, man, I just think that sky's the limit for that day.
Yeah.
Make every day count. Make every day amazing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you seem to have been doing this for a very long time, my brother. So I applaud you. I appreciate you coming in. Guys, thank you for listening in. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you. Thank you for being on this journey with us. We're going to have a lot more impactful conversations, a lot more great men like AJ coming in and telling us their story. And again, man, thank you so much, man, for coming in, my brother. I appreciate you so much. Everybody listen in. Thank you to our sponsors again, Serenity Studios. Thank you for having us. Rich Off Printing, D-Wipes. Appreciate you guys. We're here because of your support, and we look forward to speaking to you soon. We are out of here. Peace.